guys and girls, Russ, aka Super X Drifter here, showing you the first glimpse of the Sunbox E8 Moonraker. Vapes like a charm. There it is. I just got this today. This is like the final prototype version of what is in production right now. There's very few changes between this and what you'll get when you buy an E8 Moonraker, other than it'll most likely be anodized, and there's some other really killer finishes we'll talk about in the video that Paolo at Sunbox has come up with. I guess you would say it's researched and applied to, and I don't know the best way to put it, for durability and some really cool features that he sends out and has put on. I have a couple of samples over here of just some possible options, but it's called a water transfer ceramic. Basically, some uses for it are high-end weapons, frames of motorcycles, things along those lines, things that are made to take a bunch of punishment, durability. Nothing like maybe some of the Cerakoting you might have seen on some of these mods that are like home baked. Nothing like it at all. And it's also a matte finish, which is cool. But mainly, I believe this is going to be, I mean, one of the feature options is your kind of your Sunbox standard anodized colors, the wide array of those. The unique thing about this mod, the Sunbox Moonraker, as you'll notice, is that there's no hole in it to squonk, is there? It's not like any of these other Sunboxes with a little squonk hole in it. This mod takes a tank, and you might want to run a dripper on it too. It takes a tank, but where is the tank? That is the cool thing about it. The tank is down inside the mod mine. See it in there? Now this is just a sub tank, because that's what I got to kind of play around with tanks. That's down in there, and it telescopes on that elevator. This little deal right here, looking through the camera, goes up and down. Now we're going to go into all that. It's an 18650 mod. Tell you all about the sizes of it and stuff once we turn the camera around. But to me, let me tell you, one of my favorite time, many people are going to want this mod because it's, for lack of better words, a pretty badass mod. Having it in my hand, how it feels. One of the times I find it's going to shine, I live in Georgia, and it gets pretty extremely hot here, but it also gets extremely cold and it snows. And my family and I spend a lot of time at night outdoors. I don't know about all you squonkers, but I've never, I just, at night when it's cold, squonking in gloves, that's never worked for me. So that means I'm freaking one-handed glove Willie, driving around freezing, holding my mod. No, not anymore. On the end of that. See that deal right there? So if you're the kind of guy that is a die-hard squonker like me, who would never consider a tank ever, let me tell you that something along the lines of this Moonraker are going to make things you used to regret doing with your squonkers, like whenever you're wearing gloves and you can't take them off, or if you want to wear gloves now and squonk, you got that option. It's a DNA 40 mod, convenient front-mounted trigger finger, fire action. Recessed tank, so no one even knows you're running one. If tanks aren't your style, you want to kind of conceal the fact that you're running a tank because it's cold out. This is your answer right here. It's my answer. Oh, unfortunately, this isn't my answer. This is Paolo's own personal prototype that I'm running here. I got to unfortunately send this one back. It might take me a little while to send it back. I might wait till after the winter's over. What do you think, Paolo? When the winter's over and it warms up again and I don't need it anymore, I'll send it back. I like it. I won't do that to you, but there's some really unique features about this mod that we're not going to be able to do much justice to sitting on this side of the camera, but it's kind of hard to stop vaping. When I got this thing this morning, I slapped that tank on there full. I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone, and before I knew it, I had drained this tank down. You could see through here the level of the tank if you look closely. I drained it down below the holes. So it's a 2.5 milliliter tank. So I probably vaped like 2 milliliters through it in like 45 minutes to an hour. I just couldn't stop vaping it. And I do vape quite a bit, but this one was really just going strong. And then this is just a little sub tank on here. There's the resistance of it. There's what I got it set at. It goes up to 40 watts. I've cranked it up to it. It runs fine. Again, this, when you start to see some of the features into this mod and realize that this mod is priced right in about the price point of an E8 when you get to kind of the standard anodized finishes, which is what, 375 euros, about 425 bucks plus shipping. It's pretty insane. Especially when I look at a lot of the C-frames and stuff like that, what they're selling for, and I compare it to what this mod is. It's got a lot of stuff in it that no other mod has that I've seen so far. So I spent the day with it. Most part of the day was here though. I had to go out to a basketball game tonight, and I didn't want to leave this sitting in my car because I knew something happened to Paulo's prototype. That would have sucked. So I vaped it dry, and then I filled it up, and I came home and been vaping it again. So now we're making this movie. So why don't we come over here on the under the hood part, and we'll look at this thing in detail, and I'll tell you all about the dimensions, the size, and this could be a little bit of a longer movie because this is a groundbreaking mod, and there's a lot to show you about it. And I want to show you every bit of it, everything I know about it, everything I've measured about it, everything I've talked back and forth to Paulo a lot to learn as much as I could about it before I just got it and shot a movie. So other than the fact that it vapes freaking off the chain, you could do it either way too, by the way. You thumb fire it. Or fire it like I've been firing it conventionally, trigger finger. And you'll notice that the tank section is towards the back, battery section is towards the front, and the board section is towards the front. And it's all, or the control section, the readout section is toward the front, board on the bottom. And very similar in an E8, but the proportions of it are different in several ways. Let me show you over here. I've got different ones to compare it to. And let's have a look at it, if I can ever put the damn thing down. I'm going to take my gloves off too. So this is the E8 Moonraker. Next to a couple other Sunboxes, you got an E7, and you've got an E8 frame. This happens to be the V3 E8 frame, unreleased yet. So there's kind of the comparison between the three Sunboxes, the E8 Moonraker, the E8 Moonraker, and the E7. That gives you a little bit of a comparison between them. Now let's get these other two mods out of the way, and I'll give you the actual dimensions of it. This mod is 50 millimeters wide, which is about 1 15/16 inches wide, just about 2 inches wide that way. It's 27 millimeters, which is about 1 1/16 deep, this dimension. These squares all, by the way, are 1 inch by 1 inch. And the height of this mod is 81 millimeters tall, which is about 3 3/16 of an inch. So height-wise, compared to a standard E8 frame, it's considerably shorter than a standard E8 frame. Okay? But you got a little more width to it. So remember now, rather than putting a 22 millimeter atomizer on top of the mod, here we'll use this one as an example. Probably this one will be a good one, an E7, because it's about the same color. Rather than putting it on top of the mod, it has to go down inside the mod, okay? So that makes it a little wider. The weight on this mod, now this scale spends most of its life, or all of its life, under my coffee grinder, measuring 18.5 gram shots of espresso. So here it's going to be doing something it doesn't normally do. But we're going to measure this thing out in grams. Empty without a battery or a tank, it's 143.1 grams. In ounces, that up, hold on a minute. See, I done messed it up. I zeroed it out on itself. Give it a second, please. 143.1 grams. And in ounces, that translates into just over 5 ounces. Dry, empty, of anything inside it. Okay, so let's look at some of the exterior features of the mod too. Now, notice that this mod has some millings here. It has a milled edge here and a milled edge here. What that means is it fits in your hand perfectly, and those are there to accommodate that extra width over like the standard E7. You don't have you're a little narrower. I think an E7 is under 1 inch wide, as you can see. It's probably about 15/16 inches. This is, what do we say it was? 1 1/16 of an inch, or 27 millimeters. So those two cuts, those milling marks, those bevels, chamfers on the edge of the frame, are there for that thing to fit perfectly in hand, and it does. It feels really great in hand. Easy to grip with a glove on too. So that's pretty much the exterior presentation. If you're used to looking at an E8, you will note the similarities in the location and the button and the boards being on the bottom of the mod. The finger access for the door. However, on a standard E8, I don't usually pull the door off by that thing, but on this one, that's just the perfect, because it has a little, see that little groove right there? It is perfect to pull this panel off the front with that. Now here's the inside. Now again, remember, this is the final production version of this mod. So this has been Paulo's workhorse for the last several months. I know people have seen this mod before, I guess at Vape Summits and stuff. Not this particular one, but other ones. So this is his final production one, so I don't think anybody has seen this one except me. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so there you go. There's the inside of it. We're going to look around it again at the outside, the face plate of it. This mod is a mod too. I'm going to show you. It's a quiet mod. The only thing you'll hear on an E8, on any E8, is a little bit of that. When this thing has a tank and a battery, you don't hear anything but a little tiny bit of that button, which again, that's just kind of a standard metal E8 thing. If you look at a Delrin, Delrins are extremely quiet, as is this E7. This E7 doesn't make any noise. This Delrin doesn't really make any noise. This is not by any means a mod that makes a lot of noise, but I'm just trying to answer any questions that will come up. The only thing you hear is a slight little, it's not those ones, that right there, just a little tiny bit of rattle. Never a type of thing that bothers me, but I just like to address people's concerns. People ask me if it has any battery rattle, or they'll say that, hey, I heard the battery rattling or something like that. So now I like to try and address that. Notice this custom stainless steel thing that's atypical to the top of a Sunbox. And many of us squonkers, which is all I am, I've only seen these, I've seen other people's high-end C-frames and stuff, but this one's unique. It's unlike any that I've seen yet. For one, it's vented, completely vented, and this is where your battery goes. You can see inside the mod where the battery goes. It goes in positive down, negative up, but you can't put an 18650. This mod is not intended to drop your 18650 in this way. It's basically, it's a mechanical connection. There's no springs or anything connecting this. It's basically right here. It's this little deal right here. So again, anyone that has any experience with high-end drippers or high-end anything but squonk mods, every squonk mod I've ever used, the battery goes inside of it without in other words, it's not an externally applied battery like this one is, but in the Moonraker, which, let's examine this conductivity, that brass insert there, okay, high conductivity. So again, this is let's just look at this piece, if we will, too. Let's just take a little look at this piece. This piece in and of itself is special. This is stainless steel, and there's the contact point and the venting holes. Okay, this is made for you can get your fingers down in it if you're real handy. I mean, different things, small hands, big hands, no tools required. drop in of the battery. So we're going to do just that. We're going to drop in the battery into the mod. Positive end goes down. I'm just throwing in an HG2. And that's it. Battery's in. This little top just spins on. And you just screw it down till it's snug. That's basically all you do with it. And you'll have the good fortune of not having a camera between you and the mod when you can just bring it over to you in a natural position. It's much more fun. What you don't realize is right between you and me is a camera on a tripod. Not only that, not only is there a camera on a tripod, but I am working through the viewfinder of the camera on the tripod. So bear with me if I go off screen. And that's it. It mounts flush. I mean, it could probably accommodate any variety of 18650. But I put an HG2 in it. I had a 30Q in it earlier too, and worked like a charm. So that's the power section inside of the mod, how it goes down. Okay, again, no spring. It's totally mechanically connected. Battery's in. Again, the only thing you hear if I hold my finger over that button, nothing. Okay, it's a quiet mod. Now let's look at the tank slash dripper RDA section. Now, I would say that this mod, I did put an atomizer on it earlier. The clearance on it is okay. It's fine. I had air around it, but I don't know that it will accommodate like tiny drippers. I had an M-Addy on it, and I'll show you that presentation here later. So what you have over here is you have a little locking nut, and you have the elevator. This is the elevator. This slides up and down. Okay? That's how it goes. It's connected with a good size cable. And there's been some changes to the prototype that you guys may have seen, that this battery section is completely sealed from the tank section, so in case the tank or your dripper accidentally leaked, there's no chance of juice getting over to the battery side. Okay? And other changes are that this doesn't go down quite as far on the other one to allow like someone that might get really crazy with this to compress it down and somehow make any kind of connection to anything in there, like to anyone that could force it. There's been some safety provisions put into it. Again, this was the prototype version of it. So you have your little locking, you just close this over and it clicks and locks, okay? That's it. So then we're looking at, let's put it back up so I can show you from the top. Now, I clean this up. I always clean anything before you put it on camera, because you can get a brand new mod, and even a brand new mod when you get one brand new, and they look clean until you put 3 huge 4-bulb photo lights on them and they illuminate dust and stuff. So remember, this was a working prototype. So what you're looking at here is the standard adjustable connector point down in there, that the same, it's a 2mm hex that you adjust up or down to make contact with your Addy and to seat your Addy or tank on there. So it's in its pretty much maximum travel position. I believe Paolo told me today when I was asking the difference between this and the production one, that what is it again? That this is going to be black Delrin on the production model. It's not this white. It might be called POMH, by the way, the material that this is made of. POMH, not Delrin. Or they might be one and the same. I don't know much about it. And then this is a stainless steel. I guess whatever you want to call that, the plate that your atomizer sits on. I'm used to talking about squonk mods. I'm a squonk mod guy. But this is a Sunbox, and you can feel it when you hold it in your hand that it's a Sunbox. When you look at it, it's Sunbox. So that's your adjustable, the same connector that's used down in there on any Sunbox, like the E8s and E7s that I have. Any modern Sunbox has that. Okay? This can accommodate, basically, Paolo suggests nothing wider than like a 23.3mm outside diameter tank. And he wanted me to mention, you guys, he's been experimenting with them quite a bit. For instance, here's like a K-Fun tank that he had on it. But he wanted me to caution anybody that sometimes they'll give you the dimension of the atomizer, and it might say 23mm, but this ring or a part on it could be a little wider. So he just, I'm not a tank expert, You guys that run tanks probably know a lot more about them than me. Here's another one a good buddy of mine, Timothy Moore, sent me. It's called The Science of Vaping. And this tank had a lot of promise. It looked kick butt, just the way it works. But what I didn't like about it is when you unscrew, I just didn't want it to leak in the mod because it's kind of finicky the way that it unscrews and goes together. It probably just needs to be broken in. So what I chose to run on the mod was, I know it's probably pretty ghetto. We have a $425 mod here with a $30 Kanger sub tank. I mean, I'm just going to tell you straight up, I think this thing vapes pretty good for someone that's never used a tank, and for what I would use it for, this sub tank is great. Now it doesn't look that great on here and in there. I mean, I know there's some killer tanks that would probably look a lot better, but I'm not here to kind of tell you about tanks. I don't really know much about tanks. I'm not a tank guy. All I know is that it vapes pretty good with this tank on there, okay? I use unflavored Nick Base, and that little thing produces just fine on the, what is it, the 0.5 sub-ohm coil. So back to the subject matter at hand. The production model does not have these holes in it where the elevator parts go. There's 3 parts to the elevator. 1, 2, 3. It rides on 3 tubes, stainless tubes. So the whole mod is constructed of aluminum. My guess is it's going to have the standard Sunbox type of accessories available to it and finishes to it stock. I really don't know how they're going to roll out. All I can do is tell you about this one right here and what I do know. But I'm looking at the front of this. It's just a nice, clean presentation. Looking at that tank section, nice and clean. So let me show you what I've been doing with it, tank-wise. What I'm doing is I'm putting it down to the max position on there, and that's like the perfect height for my sub-tank mini, by the way. This isn't a sub-tank, this is a sub-tank mini. And I screw it down pretty much as far as it will go on here. Now I know a lot, again, most of you people are probably giggling at me because you're never going to use a sub-tank, and I got you on that. If I had my way with tanks, I probably wouldn't either. And then what I do is I get it nice and tight on here. I just grab this knurled portion, being careful not to adjust my airflow setting, and I just make it so it's nice and tight on the mod. That keeps it, it doesn't, I mean, again, it doesn't move. It's a very, very robust elevator system on this mod. So you're getting that presentation, right? And that's it. And if you were to want to refill it, you would just pretty much do the reverse of what I did there. Gotta admit, I was really excited. Today was like a game day for me. I felt like I was gonna go compete in a sport. Because when I got this mod, and I've been thinking about this video, because this is probably one of the first videos I've ever made of a product that like the rest of the world hasn't seen yet. So it's kind of like you got to get your game face on for it, because it was an important video for me to want to make. So I've been thinking about it quite a bit throughout the day. I've been thinking about it a lot in general. And having this in my hand is kind of unreal at this point that it's here. You can adjust this elevator up now to any point. I put it just so the sub-tank fits about flush, but you could, I mean, it depends on whatever tank you had, how much of it you wanted to show. You could do anything with it you wanted to. But the last thing, this is your typical tank mod. To me, that's probably one of the most ridiculous looking things I've ever seen, a tank sitting on top of a mod. It's always steered me clear of tanks. But you start to do this with a tank, and suddenly it becomes a real viable option for someone like me, because I know, for one, that it's inside the mod, it's protected. Nobody sees it. It's not hanging off your mod, all cumbersome and all that good stuff. And I got it locked. There we go. Total different, puts a totally different spin on the take of a mod that takes a tank. 5-click lock, 5-click unlock. You can do what you want with. You guys know the DNA 40. You got your power up and down adjustment here. I've put this thing up at 40 watts and hit it and felt this top cap. I mean, it's not warming up at all. Nothing's getting warm on it. It's a very solid feeling mod in hand. Extremely solid. So what do you guys think? Is this thing off the chain or what? These are in production right now. They're being made. I think there's going to be some of them going up pretty quick, pretty close to it. Maybe not exactly. It's a little tiny bit less wide than an E7, like a 1/16 of an inch less wide than an E7. But keep in mind, you got the ergonomics of it. The thing just fits your hand like a glove. And it's kind of cool having the atomizer towards you. It's like just so natural. If you've held a sun box, as soon as you feel this, you're going to feel like you're holding a sun box. And that's all I've been holding lately is sun boxes. So I'm impressed with this mod pretty heavily. It's going to be a bummer sending it back. Might not make it back to the end of winter, Paulo. The more I was thinking about it, man, I might just keep this bad boy so I could put my gloves on. Now, this thing locks. Again, it has a lock to it. And you hear it click. But I found even without the lock, this thing, it doesn't move easy. Let's take a look at it with a dripping atomizer on it. You want to? Just for giggles and grins, because we can. If you're a dripper, and you say to myself, I want a mod that has some versatility to it. I want a killer cutting edge dripper. I'm tired of the Champion GT Zero Extreme C-frame scene. I'm just over it. They're all the same. Every one of them look the same. It's a C-frame with stabilized wood. Aren't you guys done looking at those yet? I don't know. They're kind of easy on there. I don't mind looking at them, but for what you get, I mean, all it is a battery holder with a board, a C-frame, and some stabilized wood on it. It's getting kind of old, isn't it? Now, we've just opened up a whole new realm. You got a mod that is versatile enough to go from dripper to tank mod. Plenty of room around it to breathe, as you can see. It's not like the atomizer's getting choked off. I've already vaped it with my Addy on there. So I typically vape it at 40 watts without squonking it though, so that was kind of a fail. I'll be probably re-wicking that one here in a minute. But it gets plenty of air through it. Yeah, 40 watts without having just squonked it. Could have been the death of that wick. Tasted like the death of that wick. So there's the presentation of it with a dripping Addy on. This is kind of a lower profile. It's not quite as low profile as like this Thump, but it's a low profile Addy, and I think it looks, I mean, again, stainless steel drip tip is what you'd want on that. I just don't have it out with me. I just happen to have that one on there. I think it looks pretty insane personally with a killer dripper on there. To me, if I was in the market for a dripping mod or a tank mod, what mod does both really? None. Well, a dripping mod, you stick a tank on top and it's sticking off there. It looks like a freaking chimney on it. It looks ridiculous. And looks alright with a dripper, but here, look at that. Pretty killer presentation, isn't it? This is my thoughts on the subject. I'd like to hit it again, but I could drip this sucker back into submission. The wick looks okay. It doesn't look like completely destroyed. I mean, it's not looking as good as it did before that there incident. However, we're going to refurbish it right about now. This is a Funk Soul Brother. Okay, there we go. And while we're at it, why don't we just do it the proper justice that it deserves too? Throw a stainless steel drip tip on it, because that is what blows the M-Addy up on this mod. That the whole, being that this one's all kind of an aluminum finish. Now we got it down to, believe it or not, with a single coil, I've been vaping it at like 17 watts, and I can't explain it, but it produces with a single coil extremely well. So we're at what? Let's just go with that. So I did not toast the cotton. Pretty killer, huh? The mod that doubles as a concealed tank mod, a dripper mod. But there's the mod. Just imagine your killer tank on here, not my lame tank. Imagine the potential and everything you can do with this Moonraker. A Moonraker of your own, in the color of your choice. So I wanted to talk a little bit about these new finish options that Paulo has been working on. This is something he sends out. He doesn't do this in-house. These are aluminum doors. And on them is it's called a water transfer, like a ceramic emulsion. It's a matte finish, not shiny. And these are just a couple of the things he's thrown out there. Like, he's working on a whole bunch of different patterns. Some of them military in nature, some like this kind of like a mossy oakish style stuff, like a hunting sort of camo, or just different looks altogether. But more importantly, there's going to be a lot of different versions of that the mods and/or panels can come coated in. Most important is that this is, again, not like toaster oven homemade ceramic coating. This is done by a guy that does this. It's an expensive process. It's like epoxy coated, and this isn't something that you're going to scratch or chip off that I see. I've had this one on this white E8 and was running it when I went out today because I had run that tank dry on that Moonraker, and it looks pretty beast. Now again, this is more, to me, this is like a real tree sort of mossy oakish looking kind of a camo. But again, I'm thinking that with the faceplate of that could blow this mod into like a whole nother stratosphere, and or different stuff. I think he's got some digital camos coming out, which I'm real anxious to see. But more not a note of that this is like the direction of the finishes that he's going. These are just a couple he shot to me and said you can pick whatever one you want and keep it. What do you guys think? My wife didn't like either of them, so that usually means that they're both pretty damn cool. Here's an E7 door. But since I already have an ass-kicking Dragon, now I love the feel of this, and I like it. It almost has like a stabilized wood look to it, although it's not. But you gotta feel this stuff. I can only imagine what a mod coated in this would be like. It'd be off the chain. But I'm leaning on this one right here. This is the one that I'm seriously leaning towards. My only E8. I think it'd be awesome to have that just as an option. Like I said, he said pick one and keep it. Paolo's cool like that, you know. I don't get my mods for free, but he sends me some killer gifts, and he just rebuilt this entire E8 from the board, from the ground up. I mean, basically refurbished the entire body of it. New USB, new controls, display section, new board. It's an entirely, basically a brand new one. That's how he's really cool. Okay, so I was also thinking of how that could look on this E7 right here. I don't like it, but I'm kind of feeling, I don't know. Now that I don't know, I'm gonna have to. I don't have to send these back right away. He said I can keep them for a while. So I have another mod I'm going to be shooting coming up. Just to let you guys know, it's called a PB7, and I want to hold on to it for a little while and get to know that mod. I don't know anything about it. I want to look at it. I want to see. I haven't even opened it yet. Today, like I said, was game day for me on this Moonraker. It was all about the Moonraker. I wasn't thinking about the next game. I was thinking about this game all day, of how this video was going to go down. So these finishes, these new options come up, and I can just tell you from the conversations I have with Paolo, I'll just shoot him like a PM and just say how's it going, this and that, and he shared with me a lot of stuff. I can never tell you these secrets. I'm sworn to secrecy. I wouldn't tell anybody. My 14-year-old son once saw some pictures, and he was like, I don't think he said damn, that was his words. He was like, oh my God. Some of the stuff the guys got coming up and out, I'm like blown away. I mean, it's pretty amazing where the future of Sunbox is going. Not that right now it's in any wallowing place, it's in a killer place, but the future mods, let's just say, you guys, when you see them, I'm pretty blown away by what I see, the direction, the shape, just things that are happening with minor changes to the way the boxes look. You're going to be blown away, and then throw in some wild finish options like different camos or whatever solid tones of this that are different feeling than anodized. And his anodizing is like top of the line stuff. I mean, it's not. This isn't. I mean, and the fact that the mods are anodized completely inside out. This is like, again, a workhorse E8 frame that he sent me to show you guys the wider power cabling, the way it's milled out, where it accommodates that new spring. Negative and positive. A lot of exciting things coming up to Sunbox. I'm really glad I got that used one when I did and started to roll with it. and then just started to kind of hang out and get immersed in the family, because there's going to be some killer stuff to put in front of this camera, and hopefully I get the opportunity to do it for you guys. It's a lot of fun. And I want to thank you guys for sitting through and watching this video. I want to thank Paolo for shooting me his prototype. I know he's missing it too. He's bumming that he doesn't have it. I would be too. And I know mod makers we think are like mechanics, that they just pick up brand new mods and vape them all they want. I'm sure he's pretty attached to this. This is one it's like hard off the mill. And you see these marks and stuff, you very gently feel them. I mean, describing the mill finish to where the mill passes it. But it's a very smooth feeling mod in hand. The weight of it with the battery and tank, it just feels right. It fits. It was definitely engineered for the ergonomics of your hand. Okay, from everything from them cuts in it to the way it feels like any other Sunbox. It's like perfect in hand. It's a very ergonomic mod. So I want to kind of close on that note, thanking you guys for watching, thanking Paolo for entrusting me with this. This is probably one of the most important videos I've ever made, because it's the first time I've ever made a movie of a product that nobody's ever seen before. So I hope I've told you what you wanted to know about it. I'm sure we're going to see quite a bit of it around here in the future. I think it's going to be a pretty popular mod. So again, thanks for watching. This is Russ, aka Super X, saying, see ya.